Anthony, I'm glad to meet you here. We're in Szeged now, in this playground, but before we talk about this playground, let me ask you, where were you born?
I was born in a place called Knokke in Belgium, but since then, since 40 years, I've been living in the UK. So although I'm originally Belgian, I've kind of become British too. So,
what do you do for a living?
So I work for a group called PlayPower. It's an American holding group that has several companies within, 12 companies in actual fact. The majority are focused on playground equipment, so we produce across several sites in the US. But our main focus for me and my team is the European brand, which is Hags, originally from Sweden. And so, I take care of export sales and deal with our independent distribution network across the world.
Oh, so I think you travel a lot.
Yeah, I get to travel. Yeah, so last week I was away. This week I'm here in Hungary. Next week I'm away again. So yes, it's good. But it's a people's business. It's good to be face to face with people. COVID has made that very much more difficult. So now it's good to be back in people's countries to talk about things face to face. Much more pleasant.
Absolutely, I get it. Especially after these long COVID restrictions, it's great to see each other again.
Yeah.
So, what's your job exactly? You already told me that you're responsible for regions, but do you do sales? Do you do marketing? Do you do manufacturing designs? What's your job there?
So my job is a sales-based role. But in every country we have a distributor for the Hags brand. So my role is really to drive sales through those distributors, support them locally, and in each market our own distributor will do the sales into municipalities. They take care of installations such as this here, and deal with local authorities here, get the product specified and sell our equipment basically. So my role is really much more a relationship style role. It's sales driven of course, but it's not like the hard sell, it's very much more relationships and people. So
it's a cool job.
Yes, I enjoy it.
Talk to people, visit places.
Yep.
Let me ask you a personal question. Why did you move to the UK? Was it a job opportunity or was it some personal?
Well, it's been 40 years. It wasn't my choice. You know, my parents changed. My father worked for a Belgian business that had a company in the UK. They wanted a Belgian national to run the business there, and we all moved over, and the rest is history. I went to school there, university, and then carried on, and I'm still living there now. So
I think you like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anywhere, right? You know, I feel at home in the UK, but equally, I feel quite international, so I would be quite happy to live anywhere in Europe, really. But yes, I call UK home now, really.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit about playgrounds. Okay, so we met here, playground, and this is your profession.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there are a lot of requirements when it comes to playgrounds. Mm-hmm. What do you think? How is a good playground nowadays? I mean, what is a good? I'm sorry, what's a good quality for playgrounds?
I mean, I think nowadays what people really want is a playground that first of all is safe, secure, and above all, it's designed to give children a safe environment to take risks. You know, part of education is also to learn your strengths and risk taking, but do it in a safe environment. For example, the surfacing we see here, if you fall, is to take the impact. But also the equipment, you know, is designed not to have any traps of fingers, heads, shoulders, you know, anything like that is designed. That's what makes a good playground or play equipment, let's say. Then beyond that, the playground itself, you know, the environment, you know. I think most customers want something that fits in with the surroundings, not something that sticks out like a sore thumb, and also design.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and designed also. What's really important and increasingly important is designed for all. So all abilities. So
all abilities.
And the big word in that is inclusivity. So that means that even children with disabilities, allowing them to play with children that don't have disabilities, make them feel part of the same group, don't alienate them, and that's really, really important. So we have a big focus on inclusivity in most of our business now.
It's very helpful.
So, and the mistake people make is disability. People think straight away wheelchairs, which is only a very small part of disabilities. You have autism, you have all sorts of other things that need to take into consideration, hearing impairment, sight impairment, all those things need to be taken into consideration when you're designing a good playground that actually, welcomes every child with every type of disability or ability, and not make them feel something different from a completely healthy child.
It's a very good thing to hear that. Can we say that this is one of the main trends of today's in playgrounds?
It's becoming increasingly important in most of our markets, yes. It's very much an extra selling point. And it's not just about the equipment, it's also the design of the play area itself. For example, a child with autism will not like too much noise, too much going on, so it needs to have a place to have some peace. So you would have an area that may be secluded with some fencing that's quiet, that's relaxing, so that they can go to there. It's like a safe zone. So that's, so more and more it's becoming more important, absolutely, yeah.
Well, I didn't know that there are so many aspects of playground engineering.
Mm.
Now, I think you have some experience as regards some really special environments.
Mm-hmm.
And we just talked about Middle East or Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's an extreme heat waves there. So the heat condition is really extreme there. How could you design a playground in such environments?
I mean, the actual design of the playground is not so much important. It's much more about the materials you use.
The materials.
Yeah. So, of course, with the extreme heat, they try to steer clear of too much steel, because steel obviously gets extremely hot. So we tend to find that we sell more wooden equipment where possible. But that also then means you need to have a wood that is able to withstand really high temperatures.
And UV light.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so we use, for example, pine from the Nordic regions, north of Sweden, which is an incredibly slow growing wood, which means that the rings, if you cut the wood open, the rings are very, very close to each other, very dense. We laminate that, so it's basically cut into pieces and stuck the other way around. So that means that, you don't get any cracking of the wood. So things like this, they make small details, but make a big difference. And things that they also, a slide, you can imagine, if it's right in the sunshine, it's very hard to slide on. So quite often they use plastic slides instead. Nonetheless, in that kind of environment, even plastic slides get really hot. So they use shading more for the equipment, but it's an environment where really the summertime sees very little use of the play areas until after daylight.
Of course. Do you think there's a market for water playgrounds? For water playgrounds in
water, yes.
in extremely hot environments.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean that's and it's not just in extremely hot environments. I mean, even throughout Europe, there has been a bit of a trend where people like to have water equipment, and it's nice in the summer. But yes, there is. We don't do anything like that because it's quite a special niche, really, in terms of the equipment that goes behind it. But yes,
and the maintenance.
Correct.
And the maintenance. I see this in Hungary, that even if there's only a small fountain, there are a lot of small children around it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You really like it.
Yeah.
Well, we're in Szeged right now, next to the river, Tisza. Yep. And we're here on a brand new playground. I think they made it last year. What do you think about this playground? As a professional?
Obviously I know some of this equipment, and we know that some of it here is a very good quality. It's nice. They've done a nice theme here, which I believe is done for a castle theme. So
it's a castle theme.
Yeah, I mean this would be a good example, I'd say, of a good play area. I don't think this has been done with cheap materials, so it's overall I think it's nice. It's a nice layout, plenty of space. So no, it's good.
Yes, and you just mentioned that there are how do you say it in English?
Swing? Yes.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
Swing.
Yeah.
Sling. It's another one. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a swing for children with disabilities.
Yeah, that's over there. Yeah, it's a wheelchair swing.
Wheelchair.
Yes.
Wheelchair swing. Yeah, that's the yellow one.
Yeah.
And you told me an interesting thing about this granulate here.
Yes.
So I didn't know that the main purpose of it is to take the impact on the head. So it prevents head injuries, but not other injuries. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
So basically, I mean, this has been a trend now for a number of years, mainly because most municipalities want to install a playground and have as the minimum amount of maintenance possible. Yeah. So we used to see a lot more sand areas or bark, which is obviously it's very good, but it displaces. Yeah. So which means that the thickness of the sand moves all the time as children play in it. So in reality, you need to continue to maintain it to make sure you have sufficient thickness under the higher parts of the equipment. And of course, that needs somebody to be continually doing this. So when this is what we call in English wet pour. So it's shredded rubber granules, which are mixed with a resin, and then it's poured, and it looks from a distance like tarmac, but it's obviously rubber. And according to what fall heights you have less or more thickness under here. And yes, you're right. I mean, the prime aim of this was to prevent head injuries. You know, when you hit your head on the rubber, you know, it takes the impact. However, if you were to fall on your arm, unlike sand displaces and you have less likelihood of actually breaking anything. Here you could still potentially break your arm. But that's again part of the
learning
risk
process.
taking. Yeah, exactly, absolutely. Yeah.
Risk taking. But these playgrounds are a lot more safer than in the old days.
Absolutely.
When I was a child, for example, in the socialist era.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony, it was nice to meet you, and I wish you a safe trip.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.